Hear that sound? It's the voice of many waters. We're going to talk about his call, his voice, his call to bring us back to the Garden of Eden. He stands at the door and knocks. If any man will hear his voice, he will come in and sup with them. In this video, we're going to talk about this voice, the voice of the King knocking, the voice of the King drawing us back to the Garden of Eden. Glory to his name. He has given us a reed likened unto a rod. And he said, measure the temple and go worship therein. The gospel message is very simple. It started back in the Garden of Eden. All cultures around the world know the story of Adam and Eve in the garden. And the coming of Jesus Christ, his first coming, was to restore us back to fellowship with God. His second coming as well brings us to this glorious place, this paradise. Guys, I'm in Cyprus, and this is amazing. It very, very rarely rains. I'm here in the mountains, and maybe you can see behind me the dark clouds. It's starting to rain, and it's not like America where you go inside. It's exciting, it's raining. It very rarely rains at this time of year. But please pay attention to this message, guys. It's so simple. I don't care your background. I don't care your religious affiliation. I don't care about any of that. What I'm doing is I'm making this plead. I'm making this admonition, this call from the Most High. The call, you could hear the waters, roaring waters. You can hear the knock as he's calling you back to the garden. Every day, Adam and Eve met with the Most High God, Yahweh Elohim, in the garden. It was an appointment. And when Eve ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, they hid themselves. They did not show up to their appointment. And God said, where are you? Adam, where are you? And it's the same call to you now. There's a lot of things. Of course, in this YouTube channel, we have 350 videos about end times prophecy, but it all boils down to this. The answer to the call, the answer to the garden, the fellowship with him. And we're going to walk through this in Song of Solomon. Song of Solomon in the first chapter, and Song of Solomon in the second chapter. We're going to walk through the symbolism of the garden, the symbolism of the call, the symbolism of our beloved back to the garden. You'll notice throughout all my travels, you can always see I'll go into the wilderness. I go into the wilderness, I go into the mountains, I go away from the people. Why? So I can hear his voice clearly. I can eliminate all the distractions, eliminate all the drama. I can eliminate all the people, because people are drama. But there is a call to this garden. And this is an admonition for you to return to this garden. Your DNA was there with Adam and Eve. The record of that is in your heart. And you will do all kinds of sin. You'll do all kinds of wickedness to try and fill that void, to fill that voice. Okay? But it's my prayer that through everything that happens in these last days, judgments will bring you to a place of desperation for him in his call. This is the admonition to the seven churches. And he said, to he who overcomes, I will give to eat from the tree of life. Where's the tree of life? Is this when we die? The tree of life is in the Garden of Eden, okay? Which is in the middle of the paradise of God. The paradise of God is the Garden of Eden, okay? So we have 1,000 years to restore all this creation back to the Garden of Eden. How do we do that? We do that by fellowshipping with him, okay? 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 2. Apostle Paul says, I knew a man who was harpazo to the third heaven. And such a one, he was harpazo to paradise. So the opportunity in the last days is that there will be a people that will be like the Apostle Paul, that will be harpazo to the paradise, to the Garden of Eden. That they would meet again with the Lord in the garden every day and fellowship with him and hear his voice. All right? That's the whole apocalypse. Revealing of Jesus Christ is that garden. Look, there's also a beast in that garden. There's also a serpent in that garden. So in the last days, we got to deal with the beast. That's why we have these videos, so that you will overcome. Okay? But let's go through Song of Solomon chapter 1. It says, draw me and I will run to you. This is not a natural thing. The natural thing is the things of this world. The things of this world will always distract you. But the spiritual thing, the spiritual heart of the matter happens when you cry unto him, draw me, and I will run to you. And we know that run is a race. Apostle Paul said, run the race. And we know that's a measurement of the temple. Okay? So all these things, the Garden of Eden, the temple, the tabernacle of Moses, they're all the same to bring us into the restoration of all things, which we finally see in New Jerusalem. O fairest among women, go your ways, go forth in the footsteps of the flock. Feed your kids beside the shepherd's tent. In tents there is Mishkan. That's the word for tabernacle, the tabernacle of Moses, the shepherd's tent. Now what's going on throughout all of Song of Solomon here is all the parables, all the teachings of the Lord Jesus Christ. He is the door. Okay? And that brings us to John 10:1. Very verily I say unto you, he that enters not by the door. Okay, he's knocking at the door. It's his voice at the door. Enters not by the door into the sheepfold. Now, this is where we have to study the Greek. If we go back to the original Greek, actually what it says is the palace of the sheep. Let me say that again. What it says here is the palace of the sheep, right here in John 10. What is the palace of the sheep? It's the Garden of Eden. It's the paradise of God. The palace of the sheep. But some climb up some other way, the same as a thief and a robber. But he that enters by the door, and we know Christ is the door. Christ is the only way into the garden, the only way into the sheepfold, into the palace of the sheep. He enters by the door of the sheep. To him, the porter. Okay, the porter is the Garden of Eden had a cherubim. When Adam and Eve left, there was a cherubim guarding. That's a porter. Now that same cherubim takes John up to the throne. Okay, that same cherubim takes Ezekiel up to the throne and takes us back to the paradise with God. Okay, that's the porter. And he opens the sheep, and the sheep hear his voice. He calls his own sheep by name. This is why you need a new name. And leads them out. And when he pours forth his own sheep, he goes before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. Verily, verily, I say unto you, Christ said, I am the door to the sheep. I am the door, and by me no man enters. He shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture. So what's happening here is the palace of the sheepfold is something that you go in and out of. Okay? So you can do this every day. We have many teachings on fellowshipping with the Lord where you spend time with him. Okay? You go into the sheepfold. Okay? You go into that garden, that appointed time with the Lord, and then you go about your day. Okay? Just like Adam and Eve. The idea is you do the same thing in the last days. You meet with him. Okay? You speak to him. And then you can leave. You come and go from the pasture. Okay, that's what it's saying here. So this is the porters from the house of David. We've taught on the house of David. We've shown you these various angelic orders as the orders of his house and his temple and the Garden of Eden. Now there's stirring up. I'm trying to stir up the people. And Song of Solomon 2:7 said that you stir not nor wake my love until he please. Okay, and so we have something very interesting in here where between awake and love, there's an untranslated word. It's an aleph and a tav. And that's Jesus Christ. He's the Alpha and Omega. Isos Christos. Okay. Alpha and Omega, Aleph Tav. Okay, the Jews don't know how to interpret that because they don't know he's Alpha and Omega, but it's in there. All right? And it's the voice of my beloved, behold, he comes. All right, now this is what I'm saying. The voice of the beloved comes. He's coming. Come to the marriage supper. Come. Forsake all. Forsake everything. Stop what you're doing. The beloved is coming. Do you hear that thunder? Yeah, that's the voice of thunder. Oh, that's amazing. I don't know if that came out in the video, but there's thunder coming over there. Yes! It's his voice that thunders. Hallelujah. Okay? So, it's the voice of my beloved. It is the voice of thunder. Okay? My voice of beloved. Now, beloved in the Hebrew is David. Okay, when you say David, it's the name beloved. Dawid. Okay? And so this is this David, the Messiah. Okay, the beloved one was David. That's why his name is David. It means beloved. Okay? And we know it's the key of David that opens the door that no man can shut. Okay, that's what he said, behold, I've set before you an open door. Into what? The Garden of Eden. That no man can shut. Okay? Now, Song of Solomon has all these references. Okay? It is the voice of my beloved, in Song of Solomon 5:2, it is the voice of my beloved that knocks. How does a voice knock? There it is again. You hear it? Yeah! It is the voice of my beloved in the clouds. Thundering. Glory to his name. Okay. Revelation 3:20, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice, it's a voice of knocking. His voice is the waters. His voice is the thunder. His voice is calling you back to the garden saying, Adam, where are you? Eve, where are you? Come back to the garden. And he brought me to his banquet house. Now he's already opened the banquet house. He's already opened the Garden of Eden. Everybody's waiting to be raptured. The opening of heaven has already happened. The banquet house is already open. That's why in Luke 12:36 it says, and ye likewise, men, when they wait for the Lord, when he will return from the wedding. Now why is he returning from the wedding? He's already at the wedding. Okay? When he comes and knocks, that they open to him immediately. Okay? Because they missed the first entrance of the marriage supper. All right? And once the master of the house is risen up, he has shut the door. And you begin to stand without and knock at the door saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. And he shall answer and say, I never knew you. You didn't answer the door. Back to Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 8. It is the voice of my beloved that is standing behind a wall. He looks at the windows, showing himself through the lattice. So Jesus Christ here is in the walls. You can see, you may not be able to tell, but this here is a wall. If I make a step, I'm falling off the wall. And now here comes the rain. But he's standing in the Garden of Eden, guys. That's what it says here. He's standing within the walls. And it's my beloved standing within the lattice of the garden, saying, come, come. Rise up, my beloved. Come. Overcome. Okay? So he stands looking through the window, showing himself through the lattice. So what is going on? It is the beloved, the Son of David, standing inside a fenced garden, which we know to be the Garden of Eden. Oh, my notes are going crazy. Guess it's raining. Glory to God. That's why you got to do these videos outside. You never know what's going to happen. Oh, I did it again. So we have him in the garden, calling. Okay, saying, arise. Song of Solomon 4:12. A garden enclosed, okay, an orchard. This word orchard in the Hebrew is paradise. It is the Garden of Eden. It is this orchard, okay, full of pleasant fruits. It's this call back to the garden, guys. Is it not the voice in the garden? Genesis 3:8, back to the beginning. And they heard the voice of the Lord walking in the garden, in the breeze or spirit of the day. So what that means is they heard the voice of the Lord walking. Okay, if you understand this, you begin to hear the voice of the Lord in things like the thunder, in things like the water, in things like the wind blowing through the trees. It's the voice of the Lord walking in the garden, calling you back to him. Adam, where are you? Eve, where are you? Okay, and you can see it says in the breeze or spirit of the day. What that means is there's a precise moment of the day that you're to go and meet with the Lord in the garden. He's there. You could see Jesus Christ is there in the garden. He's there in the fenced wall, looking through the windows, looking through the lattice. He's there. Whether you show up or not, he shows up every day in the garden waiting for you to answer. Okay? And God have mercy on your soul. If you don't ever answer him and he comes back and he says, and you knock on the door and he says, I never knew you. It's not going to be good. All right. But Adam and Eve hid themselves from the presence of the Lord amongst the trees of the garden. Okay. Of course, it's all about the trees in the garden, right? You got, the tree of life, tree of knowledge of good and evil. All right. But it's that tree of life. When I go out in the wilderness, I eat, wild things, and it's like the tree of life. It's not like processed man food. It's like, wow, live things, So I love to do. There's the thunder again. Yeah! Glory to God. All right. So, are we not doing the same thing? Is he not calling us, Adam, come back? I got a whole thing on the trees. But I'm not going to get into that now. But it is the voice of the turtle dove that's heard in the land. Okay, that's his voice, guys. His voice is the voice of creation, the turtle dove, the many waters, the thunder. I had no idea it was going to rain. It never rains here. Okay, but he says, Song of Solomon 2:13, arise, my love, my fair one, come away. Let me see your countenance, let me hear your voice, for sweet is your voice, and your appearing is beautiful. Okay, Song of Solomon is this call. Come, my beloved. Come back to the garden. All right? And then what happens is you have all these, remember the days of Noah. You have all these scriptures and parables and things that relate to the door. Okay? Then the door is shut. Okay, so the door is shut to the foolish virgins. The door is shut in Noah's Ark, right? Luke 13:24, strive to enter the straight gate, for many, I say unto you, will seek to enter in and shall not be able. When once the master of the house is risen up, remember we saw that master of the house is risen up, okay, and has shut the door, behold, got rain on it again. Whenever it rains on the tablet, it moves somewhere else. When the master of the house is risen up and shut the door, and you begin to stand without and knock on the door saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. And he shall say, I never knew who you are. Okay. And remember it. He has this door, guys. He knows and judges all hearts. Okay. You can't fake this with him. He shuts the door. Revelation 13:7. He has the key of David and opens and no man shuts, and shuts and no man opens. And he have said, behold, I have set before you an open door. No man can shut it. To him that overcomes, I will grant to sit with me on my throne, even as I overcame and sat down in my Father's throne. Great honors are coming. But Revelation 4:1, after this door is described. After this I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven. In the first voice I heard, which is a sound of a trumpet, talking with me, said, come up here. And that's what we're saying. We see the sound of an eagle. Come up here. Come up hither. You guys are just waiting on the earth for something to happen. Already, the door is open in heaven. The Garden of Eden is open in heaven. The temple is open in heaven. Okay? That's what we're explaining to you. So, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Before I wrap up this video, I just want to show you some of the wildlife I saw out here in the mountains. But God bless you. Just to confirm this message, you can see I've seen some deer. These are some small ones. Very, very small. I don't know what they call them, but it's the voice of my beloved. Behold, he comes, leaping upon the mountains, skipping upon the hills. My beloved is like a roe, a young hart. And here you can see some more. These are larger, kind of like rams. But as a deer pants after the water brooks, even so my heart pants after thee, O God. My soul thirsts for God, for the living God. When shall I come and appear before God?